What's up, everyone? May 1st, Oxnard, California, at the OPAC. It's Terror, Outburst, Retaliate, Dead Heat. It's going down. Go to sticktight.la for tickets. I'll see you all there. Come say hi. 185milessouth.com.
Smash that Patreon button.
185 Miles South, a hardcore punk rock podcast.
Introducing first, the challenger, fighting out of the hard corner. He dove on your head to Powerhouse. Now he can sell you a condo or a house. Representing the San Ramon Mush Crew from San Ramon, California, it's Jeremy Lux. And his opponent, fighting out of the core corner from parts unknown, weight unknown. Reason he didn't pick Minor Threat in the Straight Edge Super 7, unknown. It is the reigning, defending, undisputed 185 Miles South trivia champion of the world, Daniel, these questions are too easy, Sant.
All right, and the first question goes to Jeremy Lux. Jeremy, this is a brand of gelatin desserts and also the singer of the Dead Kennedys.
Who is Jello Biafra? Biafra's the name.
A point to Jeremy Lux. We go to Dan for your number one question. Dan, right in your wheelhouse, on the Cinema Beer Goggles VHS, how many members of the Bullweevils appear in their music video?
That would be 0.
A point to the champ, the king of the Cinema Beer series. We go to Jeremy for his question number 2. Jeremy, no controversy this time. On the CD version of the Ceremony album Violence, Violence, are there more or less than 18 songs?
Less than.
We go to Daniel for the possible steal. Dan, on the CD version of the Ceremony album Violence, Violence, are there more or less than 18 songs?
There are more.
Correct. There are 20. Jeremy, all that time for redemption. And this is what happens.
I didn't think they did that shit on the CD too.
They didn't. I don't know. It must be like the new songs plus the demo, right? It's not like because the other one's like repeatees on both sides, I think.
Yeah, correct.
Right. Anyway, an epic fail. I'm sorry.
Go on.
I know. Okay, here we go to Dan for his question number 2. Dan, right in your wheelhouse. What is the next volume in the Cinema Beer series following Beer Tay, Beer Goggles, and Beer Nuts?
You just broke up like crazy. I didn't hear any of it.
Okay.
Googling.
What is the next volume in the Cinema Beer series following Beer Tay, Beer Goggles, and Beer Nuts?
Beer Belly.
Beer Belly, 1999, the champ with another point. How about that? All right, we go to Jeremy for question number 3.
Right.
Jeremy, which Japanese hardcore band did a split with Oakland's Powerhouse?
That would be. That would be. It has like a Federal Express package looking thing on it.
That is correct for 0 points.
It's very forgettable. Can I challenge Dan? To see if he knows?
When he goes to steal, we
Can I
send it.
double dare it? I'll double dare him.
Okay. Dan, we go to you for the potential steal. Dan, which Japanese hardcore band did a split with Oakland's Powerhouse?
Oh God, I'm just going to guess High Standard.
No, that's not it.
It is a band called Numb.
Oh fuck yeah, there it is.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, Jeremy's officially kicked out of Powerhouse Crew right now for that.
Well,
You know, that's
What
one
was
I don't think I own that one, to be honest with you. I'm gonna have to open up my
is it a three-way split or just
my
a two?
list. No, it's just two.
Huh.
And I need it. Let me pull up my record collection.
Because this is from the Heart on there and one other song. I think Powerhouse has two songs. This is from the Heart as one of them.
Yes.
But
Is that the
Leafy
only
was right.
place it shows up?
that song, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, here we go for your question number 3. Dan, what UK punk band used a piece of laboratory glassware in their band name?
What UK punk band used piece
They
of
used a piece of laboratory glassware in their band name.
Peter and the Test Tube Babies.
Oh,
Point to the champ.
that's good.
All right. Here we go to Jeremy. Here's question number 4. Jeremy, what was the title of the Breakaway CD put out by Lost and Found in 1997?
Joey Bella's Breakaway was put out on Lost and Found,
Hell yeah, dude.
and it was called What It Meant.
We go to Dan for the potential steal. Dan, what was the title of the Breakaway CD put out by Lost and Found in 1997?
Well, the funny thing about them is, like, did Breakaway even know that was being put out at the time?
I bet let's ask Joey if he knows this.
He might not even know that it's been like actually put out. But yeah, I had it. God, was it just called something like Those Days or something like that? I think, right?
It's actually called Step Back.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was going to make a question calling Chris Kelly a dick for, just for something, and then I decided to be nice.
You went the Lost and Found route.
Yeah, I went Lost and Found instead of Teamwork. You know?
How do you really
I'm glad you decided to be nice.
Well, it's like you have a friendly label name and then you're a dick, dude. You know? Receipts. What's up? Still here 20 years later. Never thought it, huh? All right. Dan, we go to you for question number 4. Dan, what is the first Sick of It All LP to not have a long hair in the band photos?
Well, are we going to get really on a technicality here with the rat tail or not? I'm going to say, if we're going LP to not have a long hair, it's got to be Scratch the Surface.
A point to the champ.
Yeah.
And I am curious about, no, it looks like the dude that has a rat tail has like a nice, like Bon Jovi looking haircut that I counted as long hair.
Well, wouldn't that be Lou?
Oh, no, Lou had a
Oh,
rat
yeah,
tail
yeah.
with the
You're
flat
right, you're
top.
right.
But Richie had the New Jersey swagger.
The
Dude.
skull.
Handsome man with a nice head of hair. I can't hate.
A solid stash, too, I think.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
That is true. Okay, Jeremy, on the the AFI record, Very Proud of Ya, depicts a man in a suit grabbed by a lady wearing leopard print. What color are the man's shoes?
It's fucked.
Come on, Dan. Either the mohawk is green or blue, right?
That's right.
Brown.
A point for the man, Jeremy Lux.
Wow. I'm very proud of you for getting that.
Yeah.
All right, we go to Dan for his question number 5. Dan, the Rudimentary Peni record Death Church came out on what record label that is also a town in Texas?
Ooh. Also a town in Texas. Is it a town or a city? Interesting.
How about that?
Well, it's just recently been repressed on everyone's favorite label, La Vida es un Muse, but Austin Records.
We go to Jeremy for the potential steal. Jeremy, the rudimentary Peni record Death Church came out on what record label that is also a town in Texas?
What is Waco?
It is actually Corpus Christi.
Oh,
of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
right.
man, I blew it on that.
We circle back to Jeremy for his round number 6.
wow.
Jeremy, this NorCal hardcore band put out records on Youngblood Records and shared the name of a hit song by the Angry Samoans.
Who is Lights Out?
A point to Jeremy Lux.
Get out.
Love it. All right, Dan, right in your wheelhouse. On the insert of the Alone in the Crowd 7-inch, how many people have their hoods up?
On the insert. 2.
We go to Jeremy for the potential steal. Jeremy, on the insert of the Alone in the Crowd 7-inch, how many people have their hoods up?
3?
No points. It is 1.
Oh.
Jules.
Yeah. Maybe the only bad thing about that 7-inch.
Is there a shirt over the hoodie?
I don't have it in front of me anymore. I just wrote
respect
down
that
1. Okay. Let's get into this. Oops. God damn it.
What's up, Judd?
That's Judd with the wrong button.
What? What? Okay.
We go to Ben for the subtotals.
All right. The champion, Dan Sant, has 5 points, and Jeremy has 3. So you can wager as many points as you have, or you can wager no points at all if you so desire.
Dan, where are we going on this one?
I'm going to wager 1 point.
Dan wagers a single point. And Jeremy, how many points would you like to wager?
I'm going to go 3.
All right. We are going to, looks like Jeremy first. And it is the pink button. And here we go.
About 3 more times.
Okay. 3 times in a row. Here we go.
I know the last 3. It's the first 2 words I can't figure out.
Same.
Something
I think I'm-
between you and me.
Yeah, I definitely hear the between you and me.
Between you and me.
Both of you guys got songs off Keeping It Real, dude. Come on.
Well, I only know haters be damned. But let me do one more time.
All right. Here we go.
There's no vengeance between you and me. I don't know. It sounds stupid enough.
Dan, you want to take a crack at it for no points?
Can I hear it one more time then?
Yeah.
Things came fractured between you and me?
No,
or
it
something
sounds too
like
intelligent.
Sick of this bullshit between you and me. Everybody sing along. Everybody come up front, pile on.
You and me.
Not
It's
right.
true. It's
How-
true. He's saying it.
Yeah.
It is true.
Is
Or
it-
Ben would have caught it. Ben would have said, no, you can't do that. He does not say that. All right, Dan, we go to you for yours. And that is the purple button. Here we go.
What? Oh my god.
Oh, God.
8 more times, please?
We'll do it 3, and we'll see if you need it more. Here we go.
Yeah, I need more.
Here we go. 3 more.
All right, one more, and I'm going to guess.
All right, here we go.
I didn't hit, it didn't play.
Oh,
All right, here we go. Here we go.
I'm just gonna guess in Rick to Life Ease. The game calls you.
He actually says,
Oh, it's like grab the hat for me or something. It's like,
that's pretty close. That's what it sounds like. No, he actually says, into the hate, violence fade. Everybody come up front, sing along.
oh, no way.
Yeah, which is also the title of the song, dude. If you just did a little homework.
There is zero chance he says that.
He says,
In
and the hate, violence fade. And the hate, violence fade. Oh, yeah, dude.
The word violence just gets eaten by fade.
I like grab the hat for me.
Yeah.
All right, we go to Ben for the totals.
All right, Jeremy.
0 point.
Jeremy had 3 points. He wagered all 3 of his points. He did not get the correct answer because to this day, no one has gotten the correct answer except for that one time where Dan got the correct answer, but it wasn't his question, which didn't count. So Jeremy ends up with 0 points. And by the way, for all first-time listeners, round 7 of trivia is always guess the 25 to Life lyrics. So this is the band 25 to Life. Dan had 5 points.
Is it never coming correct?
Say that again, Jeremy.
Is coming correct never thrown in? Or is it always 25?
Dude, I don't like coming correct. I just like 2 25 to Life records.
Okay. Well, they're all nonsense. So
I kind of like the demo. I got to be honest.
All right. Go on. Sorry, Ben.
Well, back to the points. Jeremy wagered all of his points. He lost. He ended up with 0. Dan had 5 points, wagered 1. Of course, didn't get it correct and ended up with 4. So Dan is still the champion.
Dan still hasn't learned to wager 0, but it's cool.
Way to go, dude.
What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we are talking hardcore. And it's a good night because I've been listening to Op Ivy all night prepping for this. So, hell yeah. Helping out, you know him, you love him. He is the best dressed man on the pod. He is Daniel Sant. What's up, Dan?
We fell victims to your lust once before.
Also helping out, wise to the game, it is Ben Merlis, a.k.a. Ben Edge, a.k.a. Bedge. What's up, Ben?
What's going on?
And rounded it out, it is our NorCal representation. It is Jeremy Lux. What's up, Jeremy?
Baba booey.
Yeah, dude. So we're going to jump into this. We want to talk about 2 recent NorCal records that came out or they're coming out very soon. But yeah, we're surrounded in the next couple of months. And then we're going to jump into some other stuff too. So I wanted to talk first, the new Powerhouse. We've been waiting for 17, 18 years now. And yeah, Powerhouse is putting out a 6-song, 12-inch EP called Renegades. And dude, I love this. This is like the right amount of music to come back with, right? Like 6 songs. I think it smashes. And give me 4 more songs next year. You know what I mean? Like, I love these hardcore records that are coming out with little chunks of music. Don't punish me with 16 songs and 6 of them that you didn't want to put on there, right? Smash me with 6 songs, and then this is ill. Jeremy, what's your take on this as a Powerhouse super fan?
I think you're right on the right amount of tracks because I think a lot of us suffer from ADD, so we don't want to sit through long stuff. We want it just to grab attention long enough that I think 6, and depending on the length, is perfect. Now, I know just from a while that these songs essentially got recorded twice, right? They've been a couple years in the making, recorded. The guy lost the the recording of it. So then they had to redo it, which only is going to help a band kind of tweak some things, right? So it's like, it's like a 6-song that's been redone and re-listened to, and it's like, oh, fix this, oh, let's add this. And I think it makes this really, really strong in that all 6 songs are a little bit different. There's even a song that sounds nothing like they've ever done before, and it just comes off as such a good return. And the lyrics aren't like, yo, we're back, hardcore was cool when I was into it. It's like, no, sorry we were gone, here's why we were gone. But in reality, none of the dudes were ever gone. It's just Powerhouse hasn't played in 17 years. So I think there's a lot of stand-up tracks. There's only 6 tracks. But I think the song Stand By Me really stands out as a 7 seconds type song, which is something that Powerhouse has never sounded like. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, like listening to that song, I was like, what does this sound like? And the only thing I could think of was like, is this Powerhouse like channeling Reason to Believe? Ben, what did you think that song sounds like?
Which song specifically?
The Stand By Me song. Like the one that like really doesn't like, it doesn't like fit into the record.
Like,
yeah, it's like 7 seconds or Reason to Believe is wild with like the melodies are really kind of unorthodox for what you were expecting.
Well, what I was expecting was a cover of Pennywise's 1989 cover of the Benny King classic from 1961. And I was disappointed that I didn't hear that. And I know you were too, Zach, but it's still, regardless, a very good song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That song is wild, because I think this record, you get a lot of meat on here, right? You get 4 like straight bangers, and then you get like the big sing along like Ernie Cortez song, which is like real sentimental.
Yeah.
And the chorus on the Back in the Day song is like super catchy.
Yeah.
But like what I love about it is it's like Powerhouse writing like kind of like a catchy semi-melodic song, but it's still like so caveman. Like there's no like pre-chorus, you know what I mean? It's like, it's this like long verse. Chris is letting it breathe, and then like you're into this like big chorus, right? Like they're not overworking the song. And I think that's the danger, Jeremy, what you're talking about with them having to like record this and re-record it. You could get into the territory of overworking songs.
Correct. What was good about the rawness of it, right? Is that what kind of you mean? Like
totally. Like they still stay like caveman, and I want Powerhouse to like be a little caveman. Like they're not a band that I'm looking for pre-choruses for and like bridges and like weird like outros and shit. Like I want that straightforward shit, and like this like record is more like No Regrets than it is like the one that came after it.
Correct. What lies ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, What Lies Ahead, I think. Because like No Regrets is just straight like YOLO, like perfect hardcore, in my opinion. And What Lies Ahead is a little more like maybe like Madball Look My Way ish, where it sounds like really well thought out. And the songs are really good, but you lost a little bit of like YOLO. Yeah. And then this is like, it's like No Regrets meshed with a little bit of like crossover. They go like kind of metal here, but in like a really like stripped down way that is like palatable to my idiot brain.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely has like it's kind of raw at times, almost like I don't want to say Youth of Today, but it does like a weird Youth of Today crossover type sound. And even in the song Outlast, which starts off like very Cro-Mags, like Casey just on the bass. And then it has that guitar solo, which is like, I mean, it's Phil from Death, or not Death. What band is he? The fuck is him? What am I thinking of? You know who I'm talking about?
No, you got to think about it and come back to it. But yeah, the leads are nice. The leads sound nice. And the last thing I want to say about this before we pass it off, or before you remember what band?
Phil from Machine Head and Violence.
Oh, yeah. Right. Right. Like, dude, Chris's lyrics on this are pretty brutal. Right? Like, I love It's Been a Minute. It's like it's like a love letter to hardcore. And that's like one of my favorite like types of lyrics. You know, I don't like when bands are above it. It's like you live hardcore. It's a giant part of your life. Like, it's okay to say you love it. And like his lyrics on this are so good. Obviously, like the Ernie song is got to be hard to write, you know?
Right.
But then like that, what was it? It was the Outlast song. Like, Jesus Christ, dude, those lyrics are heavy.
Yeah, I agree. I was, going through them. They're not like poetic, but they're not like they're you know what he's talking about, but it's also very real. It's very like, yo, I'm in a dark place, right? Throughout different parts of the record, right? Stand by me. It's like, I need my friends right now. Please stand by me, right? Like, I'm in a dark place. All I need you to do is like reach out, right? Shadow light, etc. And then talking about losing Ernie and losing a part of it. But it's not that caveman lyrics by any sense, but it's still like relatable and real, and it's not lost where you're like, okay, I gotta Google this word. What the fuck is he talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the lyrics are very like visceral and like really good.
Yeah.
And I love that mashup because like I still think like they kept like the caveman in the music, but then the lyrics are like they're fucking on point, dude. He went there. I don't know how he was able to stay away from a pen and pad for that long because he had some shit to get out, dude. And I think he got it out really successfully.
Sure.
Dan, what's your take on this record?
Listening to this is one thing grabbed me right out the gate was I was like, man, they're bringing that sick of it all, killing time-ish sound, which they've, been known for, but with a little bit of West Coast flavor. And they're bringing that, and it's a nice, bright recording. And there was a part of me that was like, man, I wish Sick of It All was this good these days.
Right?
The Stand By Me song threw me for a loop because he's so high in the register vocally on that one, to go with the way the music is in a different like key, I suppose. But as I like spun it a few times, it really started to lock in for me because that was the one where it was like my ears pricked up in a like, huh? way at first.
Yeah.
The It's Been a Minute song is so sick. It's a great way to start. But my star of the LP is The Resistance. Musically, so good. Yeah, it starts hard. It's really good. The lyrics are really interesting. So I'm hoping, with peers of Powerhouse, there are some people that have some wacky opinions in the world. And I'm hoping that this is almost like the antithesis of that, where it's like, no, you got to stop sucking on this misinformation. We got to be the resistance. We got to like break free of all these lies and being controlled. It's about like, I'm hoping that's where it's falling.
Yeah, I hope it.
There's no QAnon nonsense here.
Right. I hope it's going that way too.
Yeah.
That's what I thought when I read that one. But also, like, dude, if people that like grew up like in hardcore, if they want to like get wild and like go down a tangent, like I kind of think best of luck to them. Like it's like part of the reason why we love some of the old school hardcore characters is because they're psychos, right? That's like part of the love for them. So like, we're disappointed when they get old and they're still like kind of like going that way.
It's not a case of that. My opinion on it is these are peers and friends of people that are exhibiting other frames of mind, and I think it's encouraging that this is going on and the other stuff is going on, and they're all still friends and crew. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm hoping for. That's when I read the lyrics. I was like, hell yeah, dude. I hope that's what it is. But it is a little vague, but the song rips. There's that giant sing along at the end. I love this one. But it's the only one where it's like, ooh, there's some gray area in this. Like, I don't know necessarily what he's saying. It could be one because it could go one way or the other.
Definitely. But what I like about that one is it's very much like Powerhouse were a hardcore band that thrived in the late 90s with what could be considered, musically what was really the sound of the day. And that song really resurrects that kind of sound. And it made me like, musically, it was completely what I was hoping to hear on this, as well as liking, the Outlast song back in the day. I love the lyrics to that. I don't, I'm friend adjacent with with Jeremy and with RJ and with, I'm friendly with Chris, but like just hearing the stories of this, I love that that's paid tribute in a comeback, and they didn't leave the memory of the DNA of this band behind, But all in all, like when a band takes damn near 20 years off and comes back, 95% chance of flubbing it, and they didn't. They killed it. So, respect.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this is like one of the greatest comeback records ever, dude. Straight up. Because I'm trying to think of the other great ones. Like, I love when VD came back into that 7-inch, but like if you think about it, that was only like a 7-year gap. Youth Brigade took all that time off, came back, did Happy Hour that I thought was okay. But To Tell the Truth was like out of this world. The Descendants is the other one.
Yeah.
That one's huge, right? That one's great. Yeah. But this is up there.
So I played it for my daughter today, and she's 9 years old. And I said, Ruby, I want you to listen to this song. And I said, what do you think? I don't like rah-rah music. I was like, all right, well, let's just listen to it. It's too fast. Does it make you want to punch your brother? Makes me want to punch you. Turn it off. So that is the review of a 9-year-old girl about the new Powerhouse.
And now let's go to the review from Bedge.
All right. Zach's favorite goatee core band is back, baby.
That's right.
When I hear the first song is Back in the Day, right? You gave us the songs in order, right?
Yeah.
No, the first song's It's Been a Minute. I gave you the album cover so you could see like the order.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, then I should have been smart enough to click on that. But anyway, Back in the Day is the first song I heard, and it fucking rocks. It's like, it's vocally exactly what I expected, which is kind of like Lou Collar-ish, Sick of It All style vocals, but musically not what I expected at all. It's like driving mid-tempo punk rock music. It's very up my alley. This is like, I have an ongoing playlist on Spotify of just like random songs I like and want to hear more than once. Like this is definitely going on that playlist. It's Been a Minute is musically very Sick of It All as well as vocally. And then Outlast, that's kind of like, did you pick up on this like weird chunky thing happening in the choruses? It's like very unusual. Like I can't think of, like when I heard it, I'm like, I couldn't think of another band they were trying to sound like. It's like a stompy kind of thing that happens. And then
it's wild because Sick of It All never went crossover, right? It's like when AF went crossover, they went like straight to full crossover. And this is like this weird mashup of like, yes, like great Sick of It All, straight down the pipe hardcore, but tossing in like a little bit of like crossover flavor. It really works. It's crazy though. It's pretty unorthodox.
Yeah, the only thing I can think about that's sort of like New York hardcore with metal added to it without being full metal or metalcore would be like Crumbsuckers maybe, but it doesn't sound like Crumbsuckers.
Yeah.
But then there's like, so it's got this stompy thing in the choruses, and then it goes into this breakdown that reminds me of Integrity, which is the closest thing I can think of. And then that guitar solo, which Jeremy hears Phil from Violence. I hear Randy Rhoads. It's like,
it is Phil from Violence.
No, it's actually Phil from Violence.
It's literally Phil from Violence.
Yeah.
That's good. Because I was like,
but he's channeling Randy Rhoads' ghost.
It's Randy
Rhoads. And it is very Integrity the way that like it goes from slow to mid tempo, and like when it hits the mid tempo, that's when like the solo starts raging. It's very sick.
Yeah, and I was kind of goofing on Stand By Me not being the Pennywise cover of the Benny King cover, but it is a very good song, and I think for me, it's second only to the song Back in the Day. And like, this is sort of like kind of a mid-tempo chugging, not chugga chugga, but like, almost like Poison Idea, Feel the Darkness, sort of mid-tempo rockin' kind of record the whole way through if you ignore the breakdowns. And then of course they have to like abuse the double kick drum on the Resistance, which you know how I feel about double kick, especially when it's used like that. And of course it's Dan's favorite song. And I also got that vibe too of like, these lyrics are so vague. It's almost like, why make a political song if you're not going to state your politics explicitly enough for someone to like not completely misinterpret whatever message you're trying to get across? But that's what I got out of this record.
I love it. I think it rules. Everyone check it out, buy it.
Yeah.
And it'll be out. It'll be out soon enough.
Pictures look great. The pictures look great on the record throughout.
Yeah.
That was going to be my only complaint.
You
the photography's a little shaky.
A little too much Jeremy Lux in those photos, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's go on to Field of Flames. Constructing a War Against You 12-inch came out on Indecision Records. And Dan, this back-to-back with the Abrasion, like, Indecision's right in like that perfect like metal hardcore wheelhouse, but it's like stuff I like. And it's kind of blowing my mind because I'm listening to this and the demo I liked, like, and I don't like this style of music at all. And then these new songs, I like them even more. Like, I don't know. They're so palatable for like a type of music that I don't really love. What was your take on this?
It's interesting because, if you talk about 90s sounding metallic hardcore, there's an element of your mind that might go to something that's a little bit slow and trudging, but no, this is not that. This is full of energy.
Yeah.
It's full of passion. It's so fucking good. I absolutely love this record. For me, it sounds like Earth Crisis All Out War meets like Abananda. I don't know if anyone's still familiar with the awesome Swedish band Abananda, but
Chumbawamba?
Hey, you might get knocked down in a minute.
It reminds me a lot of that band, God Forbid, like a shortened version of them off that Determination LP. We used to love that and listen to it on tour all the time. Yeah, I love it. And maybe a mashup of like that and like a little Unbroken and a little like maybe Morning Again.
Yes.
But like much shorter songs, which is like what makes it great. Is like, dude, they're not scared to do a 2-minute song, or like to have songs like in the low 3s. Like that's what makes this so palatable and good. And it bounces from part to part again, just like keeping you on your toes. Like how we talk about lots of bands, right? Like Gridiron, Pain of Truth, like these bands that are doing styles that in the past, some of the bands haven't succeeded because they've done really long songs and like trudging songs. And these modern bands are just like, dude, let's just roll through these parts and just keep you like guessing, keep you on your toes. And it's just really, I don't know, it's really fun to listen to.
Well, what's awesome about a band like this channeling that era is that they can't help but have the subconscious of what is now mixed in there too with their songwriting, And then something else that keeps this bouncing from part to part is that there's just very small little guest vocal parts that break the songs up like really interestingly. Like then when Justin comes back in, it's like even harder, like after someone else has sang a line or two and it comes back in and his voice is just shredded. It sounds awesome. The great thing is vocals are really audible. You can hear all the words, and it's very clean at the start of most of the lines and then goes into a really shredded scream as each line ends, and it really works. It's like a great vocals, I feel.
His voice is great, and this like guitarist is really good. Jesus.
Yeah, there's Joseph and Jed on guitar. I think I'm not sure who plays lead, but they're both killing it. My favorite song is Besiege. It's extremely straight edge, so go figure, it's absolutely amazing. The way it built. Actually, all 7 of these songs are no skippers, total hitters. So good. And then the cover of Unbroken, like you could easily flub that. Obviously, it's not Unbroken. Unbroken are gods, but it's nice to be, just underneath them in Valhalla, like just looking up at them, and doing them a really great tribute with Blanket. And I love that the lyrics to Blanket are printed in the artwork too, because that's awesome. And of course, if we're talking great photography, there's a really great picture of them down at the bottom of the layout that was taken by, some really cool person down at their show in Cupertino.
Dude,
I love this record. Like I can't say enough about it. It has it even to there are choices with the artwork. There are choices with the way the lyrics are written. There are choices with the way the music is. That is all a love letter to metallic hardcore of the 90s, but it is its own thing at the same time. And I can't recommend it enough. I really think people need to get into this RBS.
I love it too. It's so good to listen to. And also shout out to like the rain on the intro. Very much like Death Side bet on the possibility. And Jeremy, what's your take on this?
Morning Again came to mind, not just the aesthetics and the colors, but like, and then I went down a Morning Again rabbit hole. I kind of regret. And then I was like, this sounds like it'd be on Indecision. Like I didn't know it was on Indecision. And it's like, it's really good. Like all 7 songs, I'm never bored. The guitars are awesome. They even have like kind of that At the Gates acoustic, interlude type sound. But like, yes, I'm picturing vegan straight edge. Are they vegan? Are they all straight edge, Daniel? I know Joseph is.
It's a straight edge band. I don't know if it's a vegan band.
Yeah. But and there's I think they've only Daniel, have you seen them once, twice? Because they haven't played. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're playing, I think, soon, and I'm gone, so I'm bummed I'm missing it. But this whole record is really good. It's a good gym jam if you're trying to put up some weights. I think you're going to get.
You're on the wrong podcast,
guys. Hello. I think you're going to get some gains on this one, and it's never boring. It's the guitars make it interesting, even the vocals, and then there's a sudden like in there just that comes out of nowhere. I feel like the second song could almost be the first song, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm bummed I'm going to miss them this weekend or next weekend, whenever it is.
Yeah, it's a really easy listen. And also, one thing we haven't gone into, because we're saying it's like all 90s, it has a lot of like late 90s in it too. Like they lean into like the Slayer riffs a little bit and some big moshes too. So like there's a little bit of like All Out War in here too. So if you're thinking about like mashing up like a Morning Again and an All Out War with like shorter songs, like this is kind of where it's at. Ben, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I got the cover art is very 90s metalcore. It reminds me of something that would have been on like Trustkill or Conquer the World Records circa 96.
No.
What was that?
What was the label that Clear was on?
Good question.
The Salt Lake label.
Catalyst?
I can't remember. Bad question. Sorry, Ben.
No, I agree that's in Stillborn Records. Would that be it? Or Life Sentence Records? Probably Stillborn.
It's Life Sentence.
Life Sentence.
Yeah.
Stillborn is Jamie Hatebreed's label.
Oh, Life Sentence. Okay. Yeah. I was trying to find like the closest thing that came out in the 90s to this actual record cover, but it's not that specific. It's not like, oh, they just took this one record and tweaked it. It's very kind of like, I don't know if pastiche is the right word, And I got the outspokenness with the acoustic guitars, but it's way metal. It's like that's where the similarities end between Outspoken and this band. It kind of reminds me. Do you guys remember that 90s Christcore band Strong Arm from Florida? Like,
Yeah.
I think
Only the name, but I don't listen to Christian hardcore, dude.
yeah,
That shit's lame.
yeah, it's lame. But I had a soft spot for that one band, and I can't really explain it. Like if I listen to them now, I'm like, all right, I'm bored. But I'm getting Strong Arm vibes, and I'm getting like I had like flashbacks of like standing through a band that sounds like this at Showcase Theater, waiting for some youth crew band that I actually came to see to get on stage. And I'm curious, do any of us know what specific bands they actually cite as influences?
No.
Okay.
I think some of the things that have been mentioned, like some of the ones I mentioned, I know that they've listened to, but I think, I think Zach's nailed it too with like some of the Indecision, late 90s,
Like Adamantium,
early 2000s metal stuff too.
Right.
Probably.
Like I'd have to go back and listen to a band like Adamantium to be like, oh, it is kind of like that. Cause even though I've saw that band 100 times, they might not really sound anything like this, these guys.
Well, it's interesting because you're saying like lots of people are mentioning that like acoustic guitar part thing, but I swear that's straight Abinanda, like going from the acoustic into the hard, like, so I really think that band has been referenced.
It's possible.
Well, you've referenced them several times in the pod, Dan. And I just want to clarify my stance on Christian hardcore. And the reason why I think it's lame is because back in I can only speak for when In Control was touring in the early 2000s. There would be like Christian hardcore shows that wouldn't let, like, okay, are non-Christian, are we secular or non-secular?
Secular. You are secular.
Okay, I'm secular.
Yes.
They wouldn't let secular bands play the show. So like we had a night off in Salt Lake, and then and then our Idaho show fell through too. And like we were a band that could not afford to have 2 nights off on tour. And there was a show going on in Idaho with like a relatively big Christian hardcore band that still plays and is not a Christian hardcore band anymore. And like we straight up could not get on the show because we weren't a Christian hardcore band. And those bands would like fucking play both sides, right? Yeah. So like they would have this built-in audience of like 200 kids come out and see them because mom let them, right? Because they're a Christian hardcore band. And sometimes they would play regular hardcore shows, but then they had this like sacred little protected scene that like we weren't allowed to play in, And that's bullshit. That's the opposite of fucking hardcore. And I never knew why we allowed this fucking fence walking bullshit to happen, right? It's not that offensive, but it kind of is when you're like a struggling band and like you're trying to get a show and they're like, oh yeah, there's a hardcore show going on. Oh, but you're not allowed to play. And it's like, what?
Yeah. And it's almost like,
did they ask you to come back?
What was that?
Did they ask you to come back later?
No, it was like just some show going on and we asked if we could get on it. No. I don't know who these promoters are because they're probably Christian hardcore promoters. They probably don't do normal hardcore shows.
Yeah, and it's almost like love thy neighbor, love thy fellow man. It's like the secular bands are practicing, essentially what it tells you to do in the Bible, and these Christian bands are ironically not doing that. But anyway, going back to Field of Flames, a name that is so close to Fields of Fire, it's bothersome.
I was going to let you get that off your chest off the bat, and I forgot. So Ben played in a band in the early 2000s called Fields of Fire. Ben, go ahead and vent.
That was it. I think I was just like, it's kind of like, ugh, it's so close. Whatever.
Yeah, but if you don't have your stuff on Spotify, then don't expect your band to be in the vernacular of people knowing it, right?
But tell me.
So put your stuff on the internet. That's how people listen to music now. Right? They're not going to find it on Discogs because if they Google Field of Flames, there's no band that sounds like that.
Right.
Like that name is not taken.
That name is not taken. That's correct. And there have been other bands actually called Fields of Fire. And believe me, that bothered me even more. So Field of Flames, I do hear strife in their music, especially the songs "Besiege" and what's it called? A song. It has the word "world" in it. Not "fuck your world," "burn your world," "burn your world." Anyway, yeah, that's it. And then, so I'm hearing Strife, but I'd say it's even way more metal than Strife ever was, and Strife was kind of shooting for metal in a sense. And then you have these death metal vocalizations that come in every now and then, which are not for me. But Zach, this is what I need to figure out. You often talk about how the first Hatebreed LP, which is, I believe, Satisfaction is the Death of Desire, sort of wiped out the style of metalcore that predated it. So you have the perfect new metalcore formula, which is sort of shorter songs with that get to the breakdown and then jump into the next song, as opposed to kind of like the slow build up sort of Strife way of songwriting, which predates that Hatebreed album. So would you say that this album represents that pre-Hatebreed LP style that kind of got bodied in the late 90s?
Maybe, but I would say that the big change of the Hatebreed LP, what that does is I think that prior to that Hatebreed LP, the majority of hardcore songs were built around like a build-up sing-along part. Like that would be the big part, like the pylon sing-along part. And then after that Hatebreed LP, songs started being based around the breakdown more. You know, so this does have like the big mosh parts, and the songs are shorter and don't drag. So it's kind of like they're walking both sides. It's kind of like, I hate to say it, but it's like kind of the best of both worlds, right? You know?
Right, because the songs are shorter, but you still have those kind of build up sort of slow parts.
Well, you have mosh. Like there's breakdowns on here, you know, and it's like, it's not like a lot of that boring 90s stuff that was like, oh, a slow part to a slower part, that counts as a breakdown. It's like, really? Because I was falling asleep and then I did fall asleep, you know?
A lot of those beatdown bands that you like now have slow parts that go into slower parts, but it's not what we're talking about. Like, it's not like this crop of bands.
No, I mean, like, look, we also like had to go to a bunch of shows at the showcase where there was this like a plethora of bad slow metal bands. So like we can't even like reference the names, right? They're bands that never ended up really doing anything.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, this is just a sea of badness, you know? Anyway, okay. Both these records rule, everyone. Field of Flames, Powerhouse, holding it down for the Bay in 2022. You know what's up.
Doing it.
The fight lasts for hours, each ram battering the other dozens of times.
Head to head.
All right, we're going head to head to NorCal Classics. It is Ceremony, Rohnert Park. Did I say that right?
Nope.
Correct me, Jeremy.
Rohnert Park.
All right, Ceremony, Rohnert Park versus the first Redemption 87 LP, that self-titled one on New Age Records, head to head. And do you guys think, first off, Jeremy, do you think this is a fair matchup? It's like,
No.
Redemption 87 is like a classic of the 90s, playing straightforward hardcore in their own style. And I think that this Ceremony is like, it's when they come out of their power violence, right? They do 2 LPs that are like banging power violence. This is them doing like pretty straight hardcore punk with like their own twist. You don't think it's a fair matchup?
No, I think it's a little apples and oranges. I think this record's important for Ceremony, and it's the beginning of them getting weird, right? Changing it up, getting a little bit different, and kind of dipping their toes in the water, right? Of like, well, let's try this. Let's try this sound. Let's try this. So where Redemption, it's just a classic hardcore record, and there's like, it has all the great parts. It has the great covers. It has the dance parts. It has the sing-alongs. The Ceremony has a lot of that, but also experiments, has interludes. I don't think it's a good one to do head-to-head, and I'm kind of torn, so I kind of want to hear your guys' opinions, and then I'll chime in, because I have such an emotional attachment to both of them.
But that's why it's a good matchup, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're not saying that this isn't, like, this Ceremony record is not a classic, because it is.
No,
It's
it is a classic. It is a classic. It is 100%. It's a classic.
Right.
And when you're comparing the records, that's what we're doing. But comparing the bands, Ceremony wins, right? Just longevity.
For catalog, and they're so interesting. Like, they're one of the great modern hardcore bands.
Correct.
They're like, and I mean, if I have to say full exposure, they're a band that I never took the journey, right? Like, I liked Violence for what it was, but I'm not a huge Power Violence fan. Then they do it again, and it's like, okay, this record is pretty good too, but it's not my lane.
Right.
And then they go to this one, and I listen to it. It's like good punk. It's angry. Like, they're taking chances. I respect that, and I respect the whole journey, but I don't love this record. So, like, this was kind of a shot in the dark of what to put against, but I wanted to choose some of those from the 90s, some of those a little later, that are considered classics and are in, like, the straight hardcore punk lane. Dan, how do you feel about this matchup?
I think it's an incredible matchup because it's both bands firing on all cylinders, right? So, and it's both, well, Redemption even more so. I was going to say Redemption 87 is a record where it can only have come out of the Bay Area sounding like this. Even though, you know, we say like Eric channels Ray channeling
John
Antidote, right? You know, vocally. There's something about this, even though Timmy Chunks coming from, you know, New York, New Jersey, and writing a lot of this music, it can only sound like this with the Bay in it, though. I mean, it sounds so East Bay. It's unbelievable. Like the bass, the what would be, you know, Rancid influence, what would be,
large right the song.
term,
Yeah,
like Green Day influence underneath Raging Hardcore. You know, it's so tuneful. It's so awesome. Like, Can't Break Me, you know, and then of course, you know, I live for the bass intro on About Face. Every time I see Ian at Timeless, I'm like, yo, I'm still going to give you another shout out on the About Face bass intro right now. But it's so good. But you put all of these songs together, and there isn't a song as good as Sick by Ceremony. The song Sick by Ceremony it's a top 100 hardcore song for me. It's unbelievable.
it might be one of their best songs. Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But it's unbelievable the way that it unfolds lyrically, but it also the way it comes out of that Into the Wayside part 1, which is, you know, like almost like ambient, like mood music, and then the drums come up, and then there's a guitar ring out, and the bass starts going, and you're fucking moshing. Like, you are moshing.
And people are moshing on like before the drums even kick in.
Oh, absolutely.
Anthony's plugged in, and it's like it's go time. Like, it's nuts.
Well, I've said in the past, like back when they played that Sound and Fury, and they just had the, you know, the spoken word part of Crass, like that they like went on stage to.
Yeah.
People were losing their minds to that, and they hadn't even like strummed a guitar yet. And that's around the time that this record came out, you know. And it's funny, Zach, you say, like, yeah, Violence you liked. The sophomore record is like the one that gets forgotten a lot, because this album is so strong, and the first album is so strong. So in between, it just doesn't register, because 1 and 3 are so hard. It's like Air Jordans. Air Jordan 1, unbelievable. Air Jordan 3, unbelievable. Air Jordan 2, it's all right. All right. If I'm going to have to choose between the two, I have a stronger historical participation and love with the Redemption 87. But I will say that I definitely listen to Rohnert Park more at this day and age in my life. I think the song The Doldrums is really good, Open Head. And then I love how it ends, and it does that full 90s trope of having a hidden track after like 6 or 7 minutes of dead silence. And it comes back in and just blasts you with like, oh, this is what we used to be. Like, remember that? Here's 30 seconds of pure power violence. I think also lyrically, it's really well thought out. The Back in 84 song, extremely clever. I think the songwriting is fantastic on Rohnert Park, as it is on Redemption 87. And it is the only thing that is making me go slightly lean towards Rohnert Park is just the fact that it's a really huge endeavor at evolution of a band while still remaining really hard and really creative. And the thing that Redemption 87 has that is slightly pulling it back for me, even though I love that they're both on there and I enjoy them, but it's like the two covers at the end almost just take away from the creativity and awesomeness of their own output. Even though when this first came out, I absolutely loved that these covers were on there, you know?
Yeah.
But if I'm putting them head to head, I'm going to do that as a slight knock against it, and I'm going Rohnert Park for my choice.
Well, the problem is that neither of the covers are from 87, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Come
good
on.
point.
Come on, fool. All right. But, okay, Ben, let's go to you.
Yeah, about face. Those are the two words I wanted to say before I begin. Okay, when stylish hardcore kids take a dive into regular punk music, it usually comes out goofy. The Adored and The Explosion being two examples of that. But I was impressed by Ceremony's move away from whatever you want to classify the earlier stuff. People say power violence. It's not exactly power violence. Into solid punk territory. Moving Principle is a really good song. I guess I'm going to try to I think this is kind of apples to oranges comparing these two records, but I'm going to try to make parallels between them. One parallel I can make is that both bands were trying to push hardcore back into a more punk direction, although 14 years apart from each other. There is some throwaway stuff on the Ceremony record to me, like Into the Wayside Part 2 being an example of that. Redemption 87 is like pretty tight and doesn't waste anyone's time at any moment in the album. Even the covers are good to me. The production is a little thin, but it's much more straightforward. And there isn't a trace of like hipster artiness to it, which is a big plus in my book. The songs are catchier too. About Face is like an all-time classic, and All These Years is another great one. I don't hear ageless punk anthems on the Ceremony album. I think Rohnert Park has the advantage of being better than the records that came immediately before it and after it. So it almost seems like better than it really is. Like when it came out, me and John Westbrook are like, holy shit, Ceremony made a good punk record. We didn't see that coming. But here's the difference. Like Redemption 87 are 80s dudes who are disgusted with the world that was created while they weren't paying attention. And they're coming back and they're like, you know, the guys from, or the guy in the movie Falling Down who goes into the convenience store and he's like, fuck that. I'm paying like 25 cents for batteries because that's the way it should be. That's the way I remember it. You know, it's kind of like that vibe. So they're disgusted with the world that was created while they weren't paying attention. And then Ceremony are dudes who are bored of the world that they themselves created and they are now pivoting and doing something else. And those are both valid things or valid stances to take. But you can't kill a dream. Redemption 87, Por Vida, Holmes.
I love it.
Now, if I could, I feel like kind of what you said with Sick, like they created this world and then they're sick of it. They were sort of like burnt out of maybe touring and hardcore and everything around it. And then it becomes their biggest song. It's kind of like ironic. Like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of that. He was able to rhyme Obama, which is, great. Kudos to Ross for that. And then it just becomes their biggest song. And I kind of agree with Daniel that this one song alone might be better than the whole Redemption 87 record, even though I've never skipped a song and I've sung every word on that Redemption record. It's just Ceremony's trying something different. They're pushing it. And there is songs, I don't know who said it, but like, okay, I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to skip this one, which is kind of like a knock to the record. But MCDF is a fucking hey, like it's a toe tapper. It's a fist pumper. My wife and I and our good friend Karen, Daniel.
My wife,
Karen and Molly and I sang backups on Openhead. So I kind of have a little attachment there. And then Ceremony brought me to Europe and when they toured on this record and played with those Unbroken show. And it was just amazing to see the reactions they get over there as opposed to the Bay or anywhere in California and just how much it took off. And I would Terminal Addiction. They asked me to play the bottle, the intro, and it's just tapping on the bottle, and I butchered it. But my timing wasn't so hot a few nights. But overall, I think the right from the gate, I was like, "Oh, Redemption for sure." I've never skipped a song. I encourage you and any listeners to go back to that record and listen to the drums. He might be playing with brushes. It is the fucking softest hitting drums, quietest hi-hat shit you've ever heard in your life. And you will not be able to unhear it. It's so frustrating.
At least it's not triggered.
Yeah. No, there's nothing false. I mean, I love that record, but once you hear that about the drums, it's like, dude, hit hard. I'm begging you.
Jeremy, what way are you going?
I think I'm going Ceremony just because they're pushing the envelope and most of it is just so much better than any band at that time and created something longevity with it. They just finished their 10th pressing of that record.
It's so sick. Like this pivot is ill. Like I respect the hell out of this band. Again, you do two blazing hardcore records that are like unfriendly to the civilian ear and you're popular with it, right? Like they got to be one of the most popular bands that ever played that genre. And then to make that like left turn away from it, that's huge ass balls, dude.
Yeah. Their new song sounds like In Excess. Like it's
right. But I'm just talking about like turning away to go to this record.
Yeah.
Right. Like this Rohnert Park. And it's still hard, right? Like, it's angry. It's like, it's a good hardcore punk record.
So now this wasn't on your radar as much, right? Because you were kind of like, it's okay. Had you seen them live during this period or?
I did not see them during this period. I saw them in like the Violence period.
Because I think, when you see a band live, it's different, right? And it's like, oh, fuck, this song, I connect more with the song because how crazy people get. But I guess we're not really judging it on that either.
That's true. We're going record versus record. And I'm going Redemption all day. It's just too good, I love it. And I love talking about like Dan bringing up like, there's some Rancid influence in here and it's so Bay. It's like, think about like that breakdown on like Spidey's song. That's fucking Up Ivy, dude. Like that's pre-Rancid, and like to have like a hardcore band that's like, on the surface channeling, what's up, Redemption 87, the Summer 87, like Youth Crew. It's like, but they don't sound like that. They just sound like a hardcore punk band that are channeling all these different lanes and somehow it works. And it's just so unique to them, so unique to the era so unique to like the environment they're in. I just absolutely love it. So as much as I respect Ceremony, I'm going Redemption, and we are split. But everyone, 2 classic records, you got to check them out.
Yes.
There are songs on the playlist. Go to 185milessouth.com. Click that playlist link at the top of the page, and you can listen to the music we talk about, because that's what it is all about.
Side A versus Side B.
All right, we're doing Side A versus Side B on the Operation Ivy LP. Good God, man. Daniel, where are you going?
Oh, this is very tough, because if you can really pick out, your tentpole songs from each side that like are just so good. So you got like, for me, The Crowd, Sound System, Unity, because there ain't nothing wrong with another Unity song. That's like one of the best lines ever, because amen. We need to sing about coming together a lot more, right? And this was 89 and completely on point then, and there ain't nothing wrong with it in 2022. And then you got, Gonna Find You, Freeze Up. You got, oh God, there's so many good songs on side B, but I have to go back. I mean, there's a couple songs on side A that I want to just throw out a window, maybe because I'm so played out on them at this point, but
give an example.
Bombshell. I
That's just because we had to put up with everyone being like, "Oh, my name's Sally Bombshell."
Perhaps, or maybe because Death Threat covered it into the grave.
Oh yeah, well you toured with them, so you had to hear it every night.
Yeah, and yeah. But Take Warning and The Crowd and Sound System and Knowledge, I mean, that's just platinum pop, punk, ska, glory, and I've got to go with side A.
Message to the world, dude. You start a song like that, what's up? Yeah, dude. I'm side A. I talked before about sometimes these are lopsided because when you put on a record, song 1, side A, sometimes it gives you the feeling of everything to come. And I think this is one of those records where side A benefits from like, okay, I'm going to listen to this Operation Ivy record right now. And so I get all the good feels of the whole record, even just listening to the first couple songs. Although I got to say, Caution and Bad Town are 2 of my favorite songs. In fact, I don't know if I could live without Bad Town. Like, even with the saxophone, dude. Like, what the fuck? They're just like, they're melting all my preconceived notions and like making me love it, But God, that song. And Caution that I can't stand. Fuck. Yeah. How do you not have those songs, But side A is just bang, 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 Take Warning, like actually doing like a little more reggae-esque, slowing it down. Like, oh, so good. And of course, The Crowd, probably like the rager, of the record, like the catchy, perfect rager. I don't know, dude. This is hard. This record rules. I don't know. What's the level of love this record gets in 2022? Does anyone have like any perspective on this?
No. I just think it's like Misfits, or I think it's just one of those things that's always pressed and kids always dig it.
Yeah.
I still see Op Ivy shirt. I mean, yes, I live in the Bay, but I still see it as someone's starter pack, right? Like yeah,
well,
I like this. I like this. Like,
yeah, and Caution does that thing, spelling out the words like Gorilla Biscuits, whatever. Like those little things are so good. And yeah, Zach, I am with you on the Bad Town. Like, how can you leave that one behind? Especially because it's Lint at this time. Lint singing lead vocals on it, and it sounds so good. It sounds so almost like fragile, like so could fall apart, but it's pop gold. Like, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4 Go just repressed it again recently, so I think it's out there for a whole new generation.
I love it. Ben, side A, side B.
Yeah, I took notes as I was listening, so this is my thoughts in the time it took to get through the whole record. Well, first of all, to date, I think it's like the only band to ever mix ska and punk music and not be corny. So that's like magical in and of itself. But like, I thought to myself, how many of these songs are not classics? You know, you think a really good punk record, you'd think to yourself, how many classics are on this? It's like, how many are not classics on this? So side A, you got 5 in a row. Knowledge, Sound System, Jaded, Take Warning, The Crowd. It's like the song opens with 5 classics. We get to Bombshell, kind of whack. But then it makes up for it with another classic, Unity.
But Bombshell's only a minute, and it's pretty good, dude. I'd say that 6-song run, if you plucked it and did that as a 6-song 7-inch, you have like a 9 or 10 out of 10 7-inch.
Of course, because it would be 5 out of 6 of the songs are fucking, you know.
And the worst song's a minute and doesn't really suck. You know, it's not like it's a 4-minute dragger.
Yep. I just said it's kind of.
God damn it! I'm sticking up for Bombshell. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
All right, carry on, Ben. I'm going back on mute.
You must have really loved Amber Bombshell when you were hanging out with her in 1999.
It's kind of like this is the beginning of Matt Freeman's overplaying.
How dare you?
Yep. And then Unity, classic. Vulnerability, very good. Bank Shot, pretty good instrumental. Then they do a cover of These Boots Are Made for Walking, which they call One of Those Days, which is pretty whack, but it's pretty whatevs. Okay, so total certified bangers on side A, I have it at 6. The first 5 plus Unity. Okay, so now side B, Gonna Find You is very good. Bad Town has Tim Armstrong on vocals, so that's definitely a mark against it.
Jesus,
vocals suck, dude. That guy, he's like a marble mouth guy.
He's like a great American poet, dude. That guy rules. I love it. I love his voice and his lyrics.
I think the great American poet here is Jesse, who wrote the lyrics for almost every one of these songs. I'm looking back here at the credits, the vast majority of the songs. Okay, so moving on. Smiling, kind of catchy. Caution, very catchy. Freeze Up, not as good as I remember, but definitely one of their more memorable songs. And now at this point, I'm like, 19 songs is too many songs to put on one record. It's like when we did the Blitz record. We're like, we love that Blitz album, but fuck, there are more songs than I remember on this. Artificial Life is aight, but this is starting to wear thin. Room Without a Window has that great fast talking intro that he actually does twice in the song. But it's starting to get samey now. Big City is good, but B tier. And then the album ends with Missionary, which is the song that got me into Op IV many years ago when it was first played on KXLU. And I consider Missionary a classic. So we have 6 classics on side A and 1 classic on side B. So side A wins by a landslide. And I think so far there's a consensus here, right?
It is, but we'll see if Jeremy's going to break that. Jeremy, side A, side B.
No, total poser. Side A all the way. Gonna Find You is my favorite song on side B. But yeah, I mean, there's first half of the record, I'm not bored. And then it trails off, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, right, this one. Like I don't want to say lose interest because it's 20 songs. But right out the gate, the first 5, it's like awesome. I love it. You know, and I remember mid-90s, like there was this like, no one knows what happened to Jesse Michaels, right? Because it's like pre-internet. It's like, no, just no one knows. It's just the Rancid guys are around and no one knows what happened to him. And it was just like these weird rumors around him. But like friend Ryan gave him a CD of his band, you know, saw him in Berkeley. And then Jesse emailed him back, said, hey, I got, you know, thanks for giving me the CD. I listened to it. I really liked it. Like he didn't have to do that. He could have just thrown it in the trash. Like super cool guy. And my old band played with Classics of Love at Gilman, and he still went off. It sounded ish like Op Ivy without the ska. And he seems like such a genuine dude. And we've all seen that video that went viral like a month ago, them playing for some benefit. And it was like, huh, cool. You just kind of like, that's tight. Even though
how many people do they draw? They're going to do an Operation Ivy reunion. It's at wherever, let's just say it's at like the stadium that the Raiders played at before they moved to Vegas, right? So you can fit everyone in you want. Okay. There's 6 months warning. The show's only $10. There's like no barrier. Like you have the time to get there. You have the money to get there. How many people does Operation Ivy draw for a single show in the year 2022 in Oakland? This is mind blowing thinking about this. What's your take, Jeremy?
Yeah, I don't know that it'd be full, but $10, it's like, fuck it, party in the parking lot, and then we'll go in, right? Like,
they draw 20,000 people though.
No, so it's because I just know they won't do that. They'll play Riot Fest, they'll play something else, and they'll play, I'd say 3 nights at the Warfield, right? Something like that, which has 3,500 people.
Ben, are you aware of the word theoretical, and what's your take?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the Misfits and how they have played stadiums and arenas in recent years.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the same level.
I agree. But if they only play one show and that one show is in the Bay Area,
then I guess
20,000. It's a 20,000 seat arena. It's where the fucking Golden State Warriors play, wherever that is now. But it's not Raiders. It's not Oakland Stadium, because stadiums hold like more like 50,
100,000.
100,000. Yeah, it's not that. It's like arena size. It's like 20,000.
Yeah. A lot of sports guys here.
Fair enough. Jeremy, side A, you're going side A.
Side A, all the way.
Dan, how many people are Op Ivy drawn in 2022?
If we're going theoretical, 100,000 people.
I love it.
People coming from Europe, people coming from South America, people coming from all over. If it's a one-time only thing, this record has touched the world, and the world will heed its call to come to the reunion. Dude, that's my take.
That's what I think too. I mean, like, Misfits, that was mind-blowing, right? They did like multiple basketball arenas.
Yeah.
But it was multiple, right? Like,
I saw Misfits in Oakland, but it wasn't full. They didn't sell it out. And they even had the Damned and Rancid and Harley
and Flea.
Yeah.
Well, that's why some people stayed home, Didn't want to hear Flea talk about, I played with Fear. Okay. That's it. It is unanimous, side A, for this Operation Ivy LP.
I'm taking it back to the old school because I'm an old fool. I'm taking it back to the old school because I'm an old fool. Yo, what's up, motherfuckers? Old school.
All right, we're going old school. We're going to talk the Dead Kennedys, California Uber Alles 7-inch. 2 songs, California Uber Alles and Man with the Dogs. I wanted to do Nazi Punk's Fuck Off, but the originals for that and Moral Majority were not on Spotify. So we're going with their first 7-inch, came out in 1979. Ben, what's your take on this?
This is Alternative Tentacles Virus 1. I don't even know if they were saying virus yet, but this is the very first release on the legendary Alternative Tentacles label. I hope the ceremony drummer has learned how to play the end of California Uber Alles by now. A decade and a half later, because boy, he didn't know how to do it in 2006 or whatever. This song is like so perfectly recorded and so original sounding. It's like you couldn't ask for more for a punk band, for a punk recording in this era. The drums are so crisp and clear, but not, I don't even think overproduced is even an option at that point in time for a punk band. But also think about who has played music that sounded like this before or since. I'm at a loss. And there is so much happening with the drums. I don't know why I focused in on the drums, probably because Zach does a lot and he really thinks about song structure as well. And this guy is Bruce Schlesinger, a.k.a. Ted. And I'm wondering, is he a better drummer than D.H. Peligro, who replaces him after the first LP? It is possible. And is anyone in this day and age doing breakdowns that are basically like a marching beat anymore? Or are we just stuck in like mosh part fever for the rest of the
mosh part fever?
Yeah, exactly. Hardcore is just in mosh part fever forever. Something I didn't know is that this song was co-written by Jello and John Greenway, and he was actually in a pre-Dead Kennedys band in Colorado with Jello, because Jello is originally from Colorado, and they were called the Healers. So maybe this was originally a Healers song. I'm sure people will text me or the podcast after this airs, and they'll be like, "How do you fucking not know this was originally a Healers song?" But I don't know. And then the B-side,
He shut it off when he started shit talking Lint, dude.
The Man with the Dogs, which is the B-side, is pretty good, but not one of the first songs anyone really names when they think of this band. Like, it's not one of the 15 or 20 best Dead Kennedy songs, by my estimation. It could almost be a Deadbeat song, the band that was on Danger House, LA punk band. But even the Deadbeats have classics like Kill the Hippies, which bodies The Man with the Dogs, but it's got that kind of weirdo punk Danger House vibe going on to it. And here's where we hear East Bay Ray's surfy, delay drenched guitar that he becomes known for on classics like Holiday in Cambodia. So this is not a side A versus side B, because that would be ridiculous. Obviously side A is the one, but it's just a great single. And it's kind of funny. Like, you think about Dead Kennedys, like they become known as sort of one of the big tentpole bands for hardcore. But if you listen to this in 1979, would you know, oh yeah, these guys would like be trailblazers for hard and fast music? Not really. It's kind of just like an interesting 1979 punk record.
It has to do a lot with like early entry, right? They're around here in 79. They're all serious players. Like, you're talking about the drums. We know East Bay Ray slays it. We know that Jello's like a interesting dude. So like, just going to shows in 79, can you imagine how many bands sucked? You know, so like they're there out the gate. You know, that has to be a lot of like the popularity. Plus they have the songs to back it up. Dan, what's your take on the 7-inch?
Just think about it for a second. How we probably take for granted California Uber Alles like as a song, because it's been in our compendium for all these years. Like, we've just known it as being what it is. Then wind that back and think about the songwriting on this. Think about the lyrics. Think about the concept. Think about the artwork. Think about it all. It's fucking genius. Everything about it is just so clever. I mean, come quietly to the camp. You'd look nice as a drawstring lamp. It's fucking insane. Also, shout out to the pair of Adidas that are shown in the inner artwork. I think this is seriously like absolutely taken for granted, and people still regard it as an amazing song, and that's taking it for granted at that point. I think for the time period this came out, and even if it came out today, it would just slay people. But I think it is so clever. It is such an amazingly written song. The music, like Ben says, when it breaks to the military march, which is in tune with what the lyrical concept is, like, this song is crafted not like, oh, we brought this music to practice and then then the singer wrote lyrics to it. Like, this is crafted as one entire oral output to get across the thought and the mood and the expression. It's just brilliant. I absolutely love it. And then the B-side, it's a song about me. You know, the man with the dogs. I'm chilling with Reggie. I'm chilling with Alvin. Chilling with Perry. R.I.P. Stella. Like,
shout out to the cigarette smoking dog. Who's that?
That's that's Duke that Casey from Powerhouse lives with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the coolest dog in the world. Like straight up.
That's OBHC as a little chihuahua.
Yeah. Dude, The Man with the Dogs is no solitary confinement, but it's still a pretty good song. And the 7-inch rules, I'm glad we got to talk about it. I really wanted to talk Nazi Punks Fuck Off, but it is cool. Like Daniel said, like we take this song for granted just because it's been in the vernacular, you know, since you were 12, 13, 14 and like figured out punk the first time, right? Like, and to isolate this song and listen to it is just like, good God, what a piece of art, you know? Like these guys are such serious players, just functioning on such a high level and so early. It is just wild and mind blowing, and I'm glad we're talking it. So that's all. Jeremy, what's your take on this?
I think it's one of two Dead Kennedy songs I only like because I just can't. I respect everything they did, trailblazing, but it's fucking weird, and it just wasn't for me. I mean, California Burlesque is awesome song. I still enjoy it, and I have the 7-inch. I kind of pulled it out on the. I had to look it up. It's like on Think. I think it's the UK 7-inch or Fast. No, it's Fast Product 7-inch, but the Dogs song, I'm like, nope, can't do it. It's too surfy, too dorky. I just can't hang with it. It's just not for me. And I know they're like, you know, when you're getting into punk, you listen to this band, and this band. And some people just can't get into it. Like, I know Daniel and I have, RJ doesn't like The Clash. It's like, how the fuck do you not like The Clash? Oh, because it doesn't sound like this, or this. Well, yeah, I guess. Right? So it's just not
wrong.
Well, I love The Clash. I fucking love it. But it's so weird to me when someone doesn't like Minor Threat. It's like, what? It's like, oh, well, Ian sounds like he has a cold. Well, wait, what? He's a little nasally. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But Dead Kennedys, I love side A, but side B is fucking dorky, and I just can't get into it.
I think it's fair. Like, it's okay to be honest with what you like and what you don't, right? We talk it all. Yeah. And final thoughts of the pod, your overall take.
Okay, well, it's funny, like Jeremy mentioned this, and now we're ending talking on Dead Kennedys, but he mentioned this at the beginning of the pod. The name's Biafra. Well, that's a very funny thing, because all of our mutual friend, Jeff Jark, was in a bathroom at some venue, and he looked over, and Jello was there, and he came up to him after, I think, peeing and not washing his hands, and went to shake Jeff's hand, and that's what he led with. He goes, the name's Biafra. And it's so rad. I love talking this. The Bay Area puts out consistently great music over
right now
generations.
It's on fire.
Yeah, right now it's completely on fire, but that's my take. I loved honing in on this locale to talk things from all the way from 79 all the way to 2022. And everything's great, and I love talking hardcore.
Yeah, shout out to the guy that cut the lacquers on this Dead Kennedy 7-inch, Porky. You know, I loved your movies, man. And shout out to American hero Mike Dirt, fucking playing in almost every Bay band, but not Field of Flames. You know,
he ain't Edge.
But extra respect, dude. But Mike Dirt holding it down in almost every band. I fucking love that guy. Yeah. All right, Ben. Final thoughts on this episode?
Yeah, Dead Kennedys. They talk about on End the Discord podcast how the song "Eye Against Eye" by Bad Brains, which came out in 1980, is almost like the prog rock. It's like prog hardcore punk. It's like really well thought out, multiple parts going in all different directions, all in one song, and it's genius. And then you kind of get that a little bit with the song In My Eyes by Minor Threat. And like you get that with California Uber Alles, except I would go so far. I wouldn't use the prog rock equivalent. I would say that it's sort of like punk rock musical theater. Like you could just picture like Jello Biafra putting on a high school musical and then writing his own music for it. And it's this song. And you can see the set changes happening, like when the parts change and it goes into the marching drum beat. And, it's wild. Bay Area has so much good shit. We may or may not do our own top 100 punk records of the 80s. Obviously, this wouldn't be in it because this is from the 70s. But it really makes you wonder how many of them are from the Bay Area, and does Dead Kennedys make the cut? Of course they do. Come on. Love a lot of this stuff. Been listening to it for many years. Operation Ivy, fucking Redemption 87 and Ceremony. Listen to it all. Buy it.
Yeah, and Ben, you should say, like, you love the whole Ceremony ride, right? Tell me your favorite album.
Oh, no, I absolutely not. Actually, the only records I like are Rohnert Park and then the last one that came out, which is called In the Spirit World, which is kind of Devo-ish. But I could never get into that early, fast, hard Ceremony stuff. In the Spirit World Now is what it's called. The most recent LP by Ceremony. Yeah, they do this weird thing where they go from the thrashy stuff to straight up punk. I wouldn't call it regular ass punk, the term I use on this podcast a lot. It's because it does have its own style to it, which is cool. Then they go into their Wire phase, then their Joy Division phase, then their Devo phase. I like the punk and the Devo.
Yeah, so you like the end of it. And that's what I remember. After you take the full ride. Dan takes the full ride. This is super fun to talk about the Bay rules. And I'm loving that we got a new Powerhouse convert, Ben Edge.
Yeah.
Dan, where can the people find you?
On Instagram at Southpaw Instagrammer.
Ben, where can the people find you?
On Instagram at Cold Chillin' Book.
Jeremy, if you want the people to find you, where can they find you?
Well, I just want to say thanks for having me on. It was kind of tough picking the two and going over it all. And I liked you guys breaking down. I like when you guys do this series. I was kind of on the last pod, kind of on Team Ben with the first step and hearing it and then going, oh, maybe not. Oh, okay, maybe this. Just hearing other people's opinion. I didn't want to go first on the Powerhouse review because I was so biased. I want to hear other people's opinion, and I love that you guys were on board for just about all of it. You can find me on Instagram at LuxPunks. Might bore you with some kid photos, but occasionally I do drop some old photos of mine from shows and other stuff. So yeah, I won't punish you too bad.
And if you need any solar panel needs, get at Jeremy.
Or buy a house. Hey, I got a Matt Dooner, I think, hit me up. I think it was through this, and I sold his house recently. So there you go. So I made money off this pod.
Hell yeah. All right, everyone. Best way to get at me is 185 miles south at gmail.com. I respond to everyone. I will not ignore you forever, I promise. DMs get a little rocky, so apologize if I don't get back to you there. But 185 miles south on Instagram, on Twitter. Also, Zach Retaliate if you want to get personal on Instagram. And Retaliate is the best on Instagram. Everyone will talk to you again next Monday. Thank you for the support. We love you all.